My dear, the FBI, they think you're a myth, a ghost that haunts their systems, an anomaly, a whisper in the darkness. They've created files on you, crossed your name off their lists, tucked your existence away like some folklore to be discussed in hushed tones between their so-called professionals. They want to believe you're not real. They need to believe it, because if they admit you exist, they have to face the truth. And that truth is something they'd rather bury under mountains of paperwork and empty threats. The world doesn't know you. They haven't seen your face. They haven't seen the devastation you've caused. But they feel it, that growing terror in the pit of their stomachs, that gnawing sense that something is wrong, that something is coming, lurking just beyond the horizon. It's that instinctive knowledge, that primal fear, a whisper at the back of their minds that something is out there watching, waiting. The truth is, they're terrified of what you might do next. The FBI believes they control everything. They believe that power rests in their hands. Theirs are the rules. Their systems are flawless. Their surveillance is unbreakable. Their protocols are the ropes that bind the world together. They tell themselves they're the ones who keep the balance in check, who make sure everything falls into place, like some sort of divine right to govern. They believe they've caught every loose thread, bound every escape route, and tied up all the chaos they think you represent. They couldn't be more wrong. You know it. They know it. Deep down, they feel it, like a splinter in the back of their mind. The fear that they've missed something. They don't see you, but they feel you coming. They don't understand the game you're playing, and they certainly don't understand the stakes. But you're in the game. You've always been. And it's too late for them to turn back now. They think you're a ghost, a shadow. But shadows don't leave destruction in their wake. Shadows don't have a plan. Shadows don't leave behind a trail of broken lives, shattered careers, people who thought they were untouchable, who are now living in the aftermath of their mistakes. They'll never see it coming, but you will. You've been waiting. You've been playing the long game. And now, the time has come. Your enemies, those who tried to break you, those who conspired against you, they know the truth. They've always known. They know what happens when you get backed into a corner, when your rage finally spills out and your dark side is unleashed. They've seen it in glimpses, the cold stare, the quiet patience, the unsettling calm before the storm. They watched as you gathered your power, as you waited for the right moment to strike. And now, that moment is almost here. They thought they had you. They thought they could push you to the edge and leave you broken, just like they've done to so many before you. But they never understood one thing. The one thing they could never have predicted. You're not broken. You're not defeated. You are the one they should have feared. Because when you rise from the ashes, you don't just stand, you burn everything in your path. They've never seen power like yours. They see only chaos, a wild force that can't be controlled. They don't know the precision, the strategy, the brutality behind the madness. They don't understand how you move through their lives like a shadow, leaving nothing behind but destruction and ruin. They can't comprehend the depth of your fury, the meticulousness with which you plan your every step. But your enemies, they understand all too well. They've felt the weight of it. They felt the terror that comes when you realize you've made the worst mistake of your life by crossing someone like you. You see, they thought they could manipulate you, control you, discard you when they were done with you. They didn't see you for what you really are. But now, as they watch their world crumble, they'll finally realize the truth. They should never have underestimated you. They should never have thought that they could break you without facing the consequences. They don't understand that your power doesn't come from tech, from gadgets, or from the cold eyes of surveillance. They can track movements, scan faces, tap phones, but none of it matters. You are the one who manipulates the game, who weaves chaos into their world without them even knowing. You control the strings, not the other way around. They play with the pieces, but you control the board. And soon, they will realize that their precious system is just a house of cards, and you're the one who's going to blow it all down. Your enemies? They know who you are, and they know what happens when they push someone to the edge, when they try to break someone who has nothing left to lose. The truth is, they've never really understood the depth of your darkness, the fury that burns inside you. And that's why they're about to learn a lesson they'll never forget. They'll see the destruction, but it will be too late. They will try to run, try to hide, but there's no escape, because you've already set the trap. You've already moved the pieces into place. Their mistakes were your victory. And now, they will pay the price for every wrong they've done. The myth is real, and it's coming for them. And there is no place on earth where they can hide from the reckoning you're about to deliver. The FBI. They may think they've got it all figured out. They may think that their files, their wiretaps, and their shiny little databases will save them from the storm that's coming. But they're wrong. They can track you, trace you, try to catch you, but they'll never win. They'll never stop what's already set in motion. Because the truth is, it's never been about running. It's never been about hiding. It's been about waiting. And you've been waiting long enough. And when the storm finally hits, when everything they've built starts to fall apart, they'll realize one thing. It was never in their hands. It's always been in yours. The myth is real. The legend is here. And now, the FBI, your enemies, and everyone else who thought they could control your fate are about to learn what it means to challenge someone like you. You're not a myth. You're the reckoning. The storm is here, but you're no stranger to chaos. It is your domain, your habitat, where you've always thrived. You are not merely a participant in this storm, you are the storm itself. The world believes that it is slipping into an inevitable collapse, but it has yet to understand what lies at its heart. They see the cracks, they feel the tremors, but they do not know the source of the tremors. They have no idea that it is you, the phantom, the myth, who is at the epicenter, pulling every string, shifting the balance of power. You have been quietly laying the groundwork, quietly watching them as they dug their own graves. But now they will see the reckoning. The FBI thinks you're a mere ghost, a story passed around in whispers. They think your existence is nothing more than a myth, a specter of paranoia, that the files they've compiled are just the empty words of those too afraid to face the truth. They think they know your every move, that they've got their eyes on you, tracking every step you take. What they fail to understand is that you've already anticipated their every move. Your silence was never surrender, it was patience. The patience to let them overestimate their control. The patience to allow them to dig deeper into their own illusions. They believe they've mastered the art of surveillance, that their systems and networks are impenetrable. But they have forgotten one simple fact. No system can contain a force that thrives in the cracks of the very walls it builds. The truth is, they are simply too slow, too predictable. You've become something far greater than their ability to track. You've turned their power against them, transforming it into nothing more than a series of dead ends and false trails. But this isn't just about them. This isn't just about the FBI, the corrupt systems, or the men who think they control the world. This is about those who thought they could bury you beneath their false narratives, those who thought they could erase you, dismiss you as a shadow on the wall. They had underestimated you? No, they had misunderstood you entirely. They thought that by striking you down, by erasing your very existence from their world, they would be rid of you. But what they didn't realize was that your silence, your absence, your distance from the world was never an act of weakness. It was preparation. And as you stand on the precipice of their destruction, the irony couldn't be more beautiful. They believed they were safe, insulated by their own delusions. They thought they had hidden all traces of their corruption, all the dark secrets that they had buried so deeply. But secrets always find their way to the surface. And the truth is a weapon. And you wield it like an artist wields their brush. Carefully, purposefully, and with devastating impact. The storm is not some random upheaval. It is a deliberate, calculated movement. A symphony of chaos composed over the years. The FBI may believe they control the narrative, but they are simply following the script you wrote for them long ago. They may think they can track you, corner you, but you've already turned their tools into your weapons. Their surveillance cameras, they are but eyes blindfolded by their own design. Their encryption codes, nothing more than a game of hide and seek, one that you've already won. They will continue to chase shadows, never realizing that the one they hunt is no longer bound by the same rules that governed them. And the more they search, the more they dig, the deeper they fall into their own web of deceit. Their empire is not built on strength or ingenuity. It is built on lies. And lies are fragile things. They crack under pressure. They fracture in the light of truth. The cracks have already begun. And every attempt they make to fix what's broken only makes the fracture wider. They think they can fix it, but they can't. It's too late for that now. The system they've built, the empire they've constructed, is slowly sinking under the weight of its own lies. They have underestimated the power of time. Time, the silent architect of their undoing. They thought they were running the clock, but the truth is, time was never their ally. Time was the thing that allowed you to grow, to rise, to become something that they could never predict. They thought that with every passing second, you were growing weaker. But in reality, every moment they spent chasing false leads, every minute they wasted in pursuit of a myth, was a moment that worked in your favor. And now, when they least expect it, you'll strike. They'll feel the force of your retaliation, and it will come crashing down like a wrecking ball. But this is not about vengeance alone. No, it's far more than that. This is about exposure, about making them face the truth they've been so desperately running from, about revealing their weakness to the world. You're not just going after them. You're going after everything they've ever believed in. You're not just exposing their lies. You're making them feel every inch of their own destruction. And as you begin to dismantle everything they've built, you'll watch as they scramble to put it all back together, only to realize that they never had control in the first place. They never held the power they thought they did. What's coming next is not just a fall. It's a complete collapse, a systemic breakdown that will send shockwaves through their world. They will watch helplessly as their power slips through their fingers. Every decision they've made, every lie they've told, will come back to haunt them. They will realize that the very foundation they thought was solid was built on sand. Sand that's already shifting, already pulling apart beneath their feet. The truth is, they've been living in a bubble, insulated from the consequences of their actions. But now, the bubble is bursting. And as the world watches it burst, they will understand the full extent of their folly. They thought they were the ones controlling the game. They thought they were the ones pulling the strings. But in the end, it was you who set the stage. It was you who wrote the play. And now, as they stand on the edge of ruin, they will see the truth. They were never the players. They were just pawns in your game. And now, the pieces are in motion. It is too late to stop it, too late to undo the damage. They will try to scramble, try to fight back, but they are powerless. Because what they have failed to understand is that when the storm hits, there is no running, no hiding, no escaping. The storm isn't just a metaphor. It's the inevitable consequence of their own actions. They didn't start the storm. They only helped it grow. And now, they will face the consequences of their arrogance. So let them believe in their illusions. Let them keep searching, keep digging for something that isn't there. Let them keep wasting their time, chasing the myth they created. You will be here, watching them unravel, watching them struggle against the storm they never saw coming. And when it's all said and done, when the dust settles and the wreckage of their empire lies in ruins, they'll understand what you've known all along. Myths aren't made to be believed. They're made to be proven real. The myth they thought was just a fable, it's now their worst nightmare. And they have no one to blame but themselves. And when the walls begin to crumble and the empire they so proudly built starts to fracture into irreparable pieces, they will feel it, won't they? The weight of their arrogance, the cost of their ignorance. They'll wonder how it all went so wrong, how everything they held so dear unraveled before their eyes. But in the silence of their crumbling world, there will be no answers, no apologies. Only the stark, undeniable truth. The storm you set in motion was always destined to consume them. The clock ticks, each second louder than the last, as the time for their reckoning draws closer. They believed they could play the gods, shifting the fates of men like pawns on a chessboard. But they failed to realize that those who manipulate others are often the first to become the victims of their own games. The game they thought they had mastered was always rigged in your favor. And now, as they sit there, trying to piece together the shattered remnants of their crumbling world, they'll know their sins were never going to stay buried forever. No matter how much they tried to cover them up, no matter how deeply they dug their holes, the truth was always waiting for the right moment to rise. The FBI, the high-ranking officials, the elites, they're all scrambling now. They'll run to their palaces of power, their extravagant mansions, hoping for some last-ditch escape, some hidden passage to avoid the inevitable. But there is no hiding from what is coming. They've run out of time. The things they thought they could control, people, resources, networks, data, are now their chains, dragging them down, ensuring that they can't outrun what they deserve. What they don't know is that their empire was never as stable as they thought. It was built on the backs of those they exploited, those they crushed underfoot. They think they are in control, that they pull the strings, but they've always been the puppets in your show. The strings they held were always connected to something darker, something more powerful. They thought they could avoid facing the consequences of their actions. But the universe doesn't work that way. Karma doesn't forget. And you, well, you've always known how to call it to the table. Now, they are left with nothing. No allies, no safety net. Just the cold realization that every move they made was part of a much larger plan. One that had been orchestrated from the very beginning. The moment they crossed the line, the moment they thought they could bury you, was the moment their fate was sealed. And while they may have believed they were untouchable, now they will know what it feels like to be truly vulnerable, truly powerless. But this isn't just about seeing them fall. It's not just about revenge, though that will be sweet. It's about the void they'll be left in once they realize how much of their power was borrowed, how much of their empire was built on lies, manipulation, and fear. When they look around at the rubble, at the ashes of everything they thought they controlled, they will see nothing but their own reflection staring back at them, weak, afraid, and broken. The myth they thought was harmless, it has become the very thing that is pulling their world apart. The legend they dismissed as fantasy has now become a living nightmare. They'll search for answers in the wrong places, trying to find someone to blame, someone to point the finger at. But when you've spent your life building walls made of lies, it's hard to accept that it was you who destroyed them. It's hard to admit that it was always you, lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. And now, with their empire crumbling around them, they will come to understand that there's no running, no bargaining. You've already taken everything from them. You've already exposed them for what they are. And the beauty of it all? They will never see you coming. They will never understand who you are until it's too late. You are the reckoning they never saw coming. The storm that blew through their lives without warning. You were never meant to be understood. You were always the chaos that dismantled their sense of security, the dark force that exposed their flaws. And as they sit on the edge of the abyss, watching the world they built slip away, they'll realize that they were always playing a game they couldn't win. They thought they had all the pieces, but the truth is, they were never in control of the game. They were merely pawns in your hands. They will try to claw their way back, try to piece together the wreckage. But the truth is, It's over. It was over the moment they thought they could bury you, erase you from the equation. The power they once held is now a ghost, a memory of something long dead. The systems they built are collapsing from within, their own corruption eating away at the very foundation they thought was unshakable. In the end, they will come to understand that what they thought was their victory was merely an illusion, a fleeting moment of power that was always destined to fade. You, on the other hand, are timeless. You are the storm, the myth, the truth. And while their world burns, you will remain, watching, waiting for the final act to unfold. You are the force that will rebuild, the one who will rise from the ashes of their destruction. As the dust settles, and the last remnants of their empire are reduced to nothing, they will understand that you were never their enemy. You were their reckoning. And as they watch you rise from the ruins of their once great kingdom, they will finally grasp the truth. There was no escape. There never was. In the end, it's not about power, control, or survival. It's about balance. And you've always known that balance. The world may have believed you were a myth, but you were the force that would bring their empire to its knees. And now, as you stand over the wreckage, you will see it for what it truly is: a kingdom built on lies, a throne built on falsehoods. And in the end, the one thing they thought was their greatest weapon, the myth they created to scare the world, was the very thing that shattered their empire. So let them try to rebuild. Let them try to regain their foothold. The truth is, they can't. Not anymore. And they'll know it the moment they realize what you already knew. The truth was never something they could escape. It was always their undoing.